Welcome, everyone. We are live. Today is Tuesday. Ooh, it is a great day. It is a it is a great day, and Little Bit is ready for the day. Listen, I was watching the show, you know, Tai Chi Master, and bad guys usually kind of have the same arc in a way, the same point of origin, right? Same trajectory in a sort of way. But he asked a question, right? Because he's in the army, he's a general in the army, he's asking for resources, and the guy is like, let him die, who cares? So he sees the injustice and he gets really angry. And, you know, then the Tai Chi master comes along and is basically telling him, even though that's what happened, it doesn't mean that you have to take it upon yourself and become the evil you're trying to fight. And so he's having this dialogue with the Tai Chi master, and the Tai Chi master says, heaven and blah, blah, blah. And the general goes, where was heaven when I was on the field and my men were cold and starving and dying? Where was heaven then? Right? This is what he's saying. He's freaking out. Heaven has always been in the place where it always has been, within. It's within. So it is not that we don't have things that we go through. It is what we do when we are going through them. Do we remember ourselves when we're going through them? You cannot contemplate the evil without becoming the evil, because it is the contemplation of something that makes you become it, because that is the law. As within, so without. What you contemplate, you become. So the way to, in traditional Chinese medicine, we say we overcome the hard with the soft. What? Overcome the hard with the soft. Well, that would, how does that happen? The thing is already hard. Like nothing can overcome or overpower that. That's not true. The softness is persistence, you see. So there's all these videos that I've seen in the past couple of days that gives you therapy in 1 minute, like 4 years of therapy in 1 minute. And I keep listening to them and I'm like, yeah, but that is the law of rhythm. So where is heaven when you need it? When you're going through a moment, it never left you. So you can't ask where it is. It is right where you left it. In your memory, you forgot where it was. And don't for one moment think that I've never gone through things. Oh, believe you me. My son and I have had our share. But see, we get caught up, because we hear all the time, well, you got to pay your dues. You haven't suffered enough. You don't know what it is. What now? Which one of us likes suffering? This is why, if you can remember that heaven is within. Oh, heaven is in my heart. Oh, heaven is in my heart. It is not speaking of a place where it is milk and honey, the streets are paved of gold. That is not what heaven means. Heaven means you walk with the knowledge that you can change any situation in your life. Why? Like that man was saying this morning, if you spend your time being negative, you are rewiring your brain to always look for negativity, always look for problems. Do you remember why? As within, so without. You see, we take habits for granted. We only look at habits that say, oh, I shouldn't drink. I shouldn't have too much sex. I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't do that on my phone, social media. And we think habits in that fashion. But your whole life is a habit because of the principle of rhythm. So if you take it upon yourself to remind yourself when you are going through something, whoa, wait a minute, slow your roll. They always tell you to regulate. Like I'm Warren G. Tell me to regulate my nervous system. And they give you this whole big thing to follow. Let me tell you how easy it is to regulate your nervous system. Yesterday, I was sitting at my desk. I hope my boss isn't listening because I was falling asleep. I was tired, okay? Because I get up at the crack of dawn, right? So I was tired and I was so foggy and I'm yawning. Listen, I was yawning since 11 o'clock. And I was tired. I took out my phone and I said, "Ooh, let me get a beta brainwave." Because allegedly, beta brainwaves make you alert. So as I'm touching my phone and I pulled it up, I didn't even get a chance to put my headphones in. I said, "Look, I need to be in beta brainwave. I need to be alert. I need to focus on what I'm doing." Two shakes of a lamb's tail. My girl in accounting, she goes, "Angela, I have a question. Can you come to my computer, please?" I said, "Sure." I get to the computer and she goes, Explain this to me. I'm not so sure I get it. Well, how would I build this?" Beta, right there. I'm in beta because now I'm alert and I'm looking at this. And as I am telling her what to do, something says, wait, wait. There's a reason why it is this way and not. Because a claim can come in, it can come in two or three parts. But this one was being built in one as opposed to two. I said, you know what? Let me call. So I call my boss. I said, "Hey, is there a particular reason why you did it this way?" He goes, "Yes. It was accepted in this fashion, so you have to build it in that fashion." I said, "Thank you." She goes, "Oh my God, I never would have thought to call him. I'm in beta. I'm focused and I'm right there. This is how quickly you can change in an instant. But we keep looking for these big giant things when the magic happens in the mundane. The habit happens when you do the same thing the same way every time. So when you are living your life, living my life like it's golden, golden, when you are living your life, traffic is a situation, parking is a situation, a sale is a situation. These are all things we live in. So practice, practice mentally that you spot the opportunity and you take advantage of the opportunity. Oh, there's a parking spot. That happened to me the other day, going to the grocery store. And mind you, I just needed to run in and run out. And I saw this parking space and I presumed the other one was handicapped. So I was like, ah. So when the other person pulled in, I was like, damn it, they took my spot. And as I got there, there were two spots. The one I saw and the one they got into, right? So use every moment to be vigilant and to tap in to heaven. Heaven is a state of mind, a mental attitude. How would you behave if you go somewhere and you spot an opportunity and you take advantage of that opportunity? Or are you going to wait and say, "Oh, but you know what? Maybe I'm supposed to go through this." Wait, what? Maybe I'm supposed to feel this pain. Maybe I'm supposed to suffer. Because allegedly we wear suffering like some kind of a badge that you earn in scouts or brownies. You better stop that madness. Keep that. You can keep that badge. No thanks. Hard pass. But we've been convinced. Remember, I told you the way to rot or grow is from the inside out. So if you've been convinced that you have to suffer, where would you be looking for heaven? And then we walk around with this grudge against God. When we don't even, listen, we don't even know who God is. Oh, oh, but Angela, how could you say that? I know who God is. I've been serving God my whole life. You've been serving an idea of God, an idea of God, a perception of God that he is a tyrant, he is a bully, he will punish you. That's what we've been serving. But if you would begin to recognize that when you go out into the world, the face of God is ever there. The face of God is ever before you. Put your hands on your cheeks. Oh, you're on your face, not your bum, but your bum God is there too. Your face, that's where God is. You look in the mirror, that's where God is. You look in your eyes, that's where God is. What you think the breath is. So it is not that heaven is this far off place that you have to jump through hoops, the 9 realms of hell to get to. You want to make a change, identify the change. Identify it. Heaven does not leave you when your back is against the wall, because heaven cannot leave you. You open your mouth and you say what it is. Like I told you yesterday, I needed to be in beta because I was exhausted. And I needed to have energy. And I thought, oh, I'll just use a brainwave. Now, there's nothing wrong with brainwaves. Like, they come through in a pinch. But I have the power over my brain by telling it what I want it to do. And it happened. I wasn't surprised. How can I be surprised when I was the one who said, oh, I need some energy? And I got the energy. That was the one time I drove home and I was not like, oh, are we there yet? I'm so tired. Seriously. Tap into heaven on a daily basis by recognizing where you are and what you are doing and what displeases or what pleases. But you see us as people, humanity. Oh, that's not true. Oh, that's just so ooh, woo woo. That's so this, that's so that. And all the while, all you have to do for yourself to recognize something is to test it. Now, spite is a funny thing because some people would say, oh, really? You don't know what I've gone through. You couldn't have managed half of what I've suffered through. You wouldn't have had it in you. You would have broken. Maybe you should go through what I went through. No, my grandfather taught me you don't have to suffer to know what suffering is. You don't have to have pain to know what pain is. We have eyes, we see others. But he always said, compassion. Compassion is how you tap into quote unquote heaven within. We walk by somebody who's mumbling to themselves, they apparently haven't washed in a couple of days, and we go, oh, soap and water is your friend, sir. And we judge. But I bet you, if you walk by that person and you gently whisper to yourself, like the disciples did, silver and gold have I not, but such as I have, I give unto you. What do I have? I have inner peace. I have joy. And I want that for you. You know what that will do to you? Oh, sure, it will help the person you walk by. But remember the principle of correspondence, as within, so without. You become the thing that you contemplate. You contemplate all the suffering, you suffer. You contemplate all the joy, you get joy. Listen, we live every single day. Take it upon yourself to always remember that you can change your mental attitude on a dime. Not only can you change your mental attitude on a dime, but you will change your external. Some things are quicker than others because the vision has its appointed hour. It will ripen, it will flower. If it be long, wait, because it will not be late. Oh, but Angela, that's the Jesus clause. Well, when a lady sits on an egg, it's 21 days. Hmm. When I plant a squash seed or a pumpkin seed, it's 7 days before something breaks through the surface. To get maple syrup out of a maple tree, allegedly, it's 40 years. 40 years. Hello? And we want to ask ourselves, why is maple syrup so expensive? The vision has its appointed hour. You're not concerned with how long it takes. You already know it has to go through a process. The reason you can get into beta real quick is because you're just right there, right? It's just right there. But there are other things that require more time. Pregnancy, 40 weeks, 10 months. Eh? They tell you 37 weeks, 38 weeks. That's nothing to sneeze at. So this change, this tapping into heaven, if you practice it day in and day out. Now, how do you practice tapping into heaven? Step one, acknowledge who you are and what you are doing right here, right now. Perhaps there's a burr in your saddle, a bee in your bonnet, a thorn in your paw, meaning there's something that annoys you. Shoot, it could be me that annoys you, telling you the same thing every day. But you could take that up with me. You could slide into my DMs and tell me. I don't care. But you acknowledge who and where and what you're doing. And then when you acknowledge it, you ask yourself, what would I prefer to be doing instead? What would I prefer to be doing instead? And then you have to answer that question. What would you prefer to be doing? When you decide what it is you would prefer to be doing, there's a mental attitude and a feeling or feelings that accompany that choice that you've just made. All I knew yesterday was I needed to be able to focus on what I was doing so that I don't make mistakes, right? I just knew I needed that. The ability to work easily, effortlessly, effectively, and not make mistakes. That's what I needed to do. So I knew what I wanted to accomplish. So I'm like, oh, girl, you need to be in beta right now. And the moment that you decide what it is you want to become, the moment you decide what you want to become, you start to rewire yourself to get there. I told you yesterday, you're always being watched. Not just by Big Brother, but you're always being watched because the original watcher is you. Okay? You're always observing yourself. And the brain, the brain is lovely. It really is. It's lovely. It's got some mad skills, man. What? It'll watch you. If you do something once, it didn't miss it. You do something twice, oh, it didn't miss that. Third, fourth, fifth, seventh, 10th time, your brain says, you want to do this. Well, let's streamline. Avengers, roll out. Right, that's Autobots. But that's what the brain says. It goes, okay, let's come together. Let's do this. And those neurons in your brain fire and wire to do what? Get you to do that thing that you've been practicing. Now, they tell you that people pick up their phone over 200 times a day. The very act of picking it up and putting it down, you not counting looking at it, the habit is formed when you pick it up and put it down. Pick it up and put it down. The same thing, the same way every time. And so now you wonder why my phone is always in my hands. Because we pick it up and we put it down. Habit. Now add what you like to watch. So what you like to watch will start to what? It will penetrate your timeline because you're the one searching. And because you listen, the algorithm I told you comes from the principle of rhythm. Nothing is outside of law. So the algorithm observes your searches. And so what you search for habitually, meaning one, two, three, or four, five times, it'll cause you to have in your timeline so that it's always there and you don't have to go looking for it. So what does it do? It streamlines your process of searching so that it says, okay, she likes these things, he likes to look at these things, so we're just going to suggest them because they're right along the same vein of what you're always looking for. So you think that that is computing? You think that that's AI? No, my friends. The principle of rhythm tells you there's an ebb and a flow. There is a pattern to how we go. Hello, a poet and didn't know it. I digress. So the principle of rhythm tells you if you do this thing the same way every time, it will rule you. So choose your master wisely. So who is your master? You or your habit? Well, the one making the habit is the master, my dear friends. So make the habit of tapping into heaven become natural to you. Remember, you know how we, as kids, when you're reading the Bible, it tells you the streets are paved in gold. There's milk and there's honey. Now, how are they going to tell you milk is bad for you, but heaven consists of milk? But what about those who are lactose intolerant? How are they going to handle the milk and honey in heaven? But I digress. So if you look at that, I looked up, the effects of milk in my bathwater. Allegedly, it softens the skin. Allegedly. And so I said, "Oh," and it described it as being luxurious. So milk and honey then would tell you that a luxurious sensation occurs, which would mean look at your life. You see, we think luxury means Bentley, gold toilet, uh, a mansion on the hill, a cabin in the woods. We think that's luxurious, but peace of mind, ease, relaxation, comfort, that is the luxury, my friends. It is to not fret, to know that I could be in a situation and go, I need to fix that. Here's how I want it to go. That is tapping into heaven. So it is not that your back is against the wall and heaven has left you. Heaven cannot leave you. It can't leave you. But it is our false perception of what heaven is that creates this sense of separation and difficulty in attaining. That's what it is. So you turn within, day in and day out, because you're living. Scripture also tells us that we were given life to live it abundantly. But we have associated abundance with making it rain, cash money, aka Cardi B. We have been associating abundance with that. What else can abundance possibly mean? Health. Hmm? Enjoying your hobbies, being kind and compassionate and gentle and caring. It could mean all those things. That's what abundance is. Go out and live life is what abundance is. Don't lock yourself up in the house talking about, "Ow, I can't sin." You can't sin. Well, then we have to understand what sin is to miss the mark. So every day that we don't get up and go out there and say, I'm going to accomplish this because I want to, you're going to miss the mark. As I said, heaven is not some strange, far off place. It really isn't. It is right there. You put your hand over your heart. Oh, there it is. You inhale, exhale. There it is. Remember how to tap into it. Step one, recognize where you are and what you're doing, and if that thing pleases or displeases. If it pleases, shoot, carry on. If it displeases, put the brakes on, because you know I don't want that. That's nice. Don't tell me what you don't want. Tell me what you do want. Why? Because when you remove the focus from what you don't want, you remove the life from it. And when you focus upon what you do want, you give it life. Your attention gives it life. Your attention feeds it. You know this better than anyone. Whenever you get into Google and you search for something, that gives it your attention, so that the next time you want to type something similar in, it will bring up the last thing you typed and call it predictive typing. It's not predictive typing, it's just following you. You understand? So where you put your attention, obviously, because we know this, because we hear it and we live it ad nauseum, where you put your attention is what has to expand. You will get the ideas along the line of your mental attitude. Every single time. You're cranky and persnickety, don't be surprised if you're in an argument. You're at peace, don't be surprised if somebody comes along and says, "Oh my God, I just love talking to you. You're so calming to like be around." What you feed thrives. Don't feed that thing in the kitchen. Don't feed your sourdough. Don't feed your plants. They will die. Remember, Neville Goddard says things wither and die for want of attention. So if you feed the heaven that is within you, if you feed the heaven that is within you every day, you will reap what you have sown. All of those benefits and privileges of heaven. But heaven forbid that we should have a good life. Because then we start waiting for the other shoe to drop. Oh my God, life can't be this good. There got to be a problem around the corner. Really? You keep up that mental attitude and you will, listen, you will find these problems because you will put them there. Don't worry, I do the same thing. Because we've all been programmed with the same madness. So when you see the good guy, quote unquote, and the bad guy, the difference between the two is just their perspective. When the general was yelling at the Tai Chi master and he says, "Where was heaven when I needed it?" And the Tai Chi master's like, "It's always within you." The general got so mad. He couldn't see it. All he could see was the injustice. And because he was so consumed with the injustice, he now became the one who perpetrated the injustice upon his quote unquote enemy, thereby perpetuating the war. So, today, my beautiful friends, whatever it is that you're dealing with, everything's gonna be all right. Not because I say so, not because Bob Marley said so, but because you have the ability to call those things that are not as though they were, and they will become. How do you do it? Acknowledge where you are and then decide where you want to be. And when you decide where you and who you want to be, it comes with a mental attitude and feelings already attached. It comes with a mental attitude and feelings already attached. Because that's how you know. Oh, I want this. Because you already know what sadness feels like. It has a mental attitude and feelings attached. So joy has a mental attitude and feelings attached. And those are the things that you rehearse. How would you walk? How would you talk? How would you greet your neighbor? How would you pet the dog? How would you feed the chickens? What would you be doing that would prove to you that you became who you said you wanted to become. And that is heaven within you. You tap into it. Inhale, exhale. Oh, yes, you're right there. That's like asking, oh my God, where am I? I'm so lost. You can't be lost. Look in the mirror. You found. Same thing with heaven. But you see, we get consumed with the anger and the frustration of what we deem to be an injustice. But as I tell you, you cannot contemplate and ruminate and pontificate on. You can't do any of that and not become those things. So, what do you want to become? Who do you want to become? And that's where you should tap into. Put your mind there. And your brain will make it easy for you by giving you the neurological pathway that confirms that, oh, you want this? I've just made a habit for you, darling, so that you never have to wonder or think or stress about it. I've made it so easy for you to do. That's what your brain does. All you and I get to do is to practice it until you become it. Chadwick Boseman, he had to rehearse. He had to practice. And let me tell you, he was in pain, physical pain. Nobody really knew that though, because he wasn't focused there. He was focused on the part he was playing. And so as he was so focused and he became what he focused on, he became the Black Panther. Oh, but that's just make believe. You know, these neuroscientists tell you that the brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. What do you mean the brain doesn't know the difference between reality and imagination? Of course, the brain knows. The brain knows because it responds to what you tell it. So, what you deem to be imagination, it will treat as imagination. What you deem to be reality, it will treat as reality. Your brain knows because you tell it. So, your change is not far off. Your change is not next week, next month, next year. Your change is right now. Right here, right now. I will close with this story from Neville Goddard and how one of the people who used to go to his meetings, he said, I used to walk by this homeless man and he had a dog and I'm trying to do my best to remember the story because it's been a while, yeah? But the whole gist of the story is when he walked by that homeless man, he said to himself, rise. I'm paraphrasing, and become the best. I can see you gainfully employed, blah, blah, blah. And I think he had given him $5 at some point as well, because he had always said, well, he'd never give homeless people money. So he had always stuck by that. But one time he was moved and he gave him money. And then one day, as he was walking by, this man stopped him and he said, do you remember me? And he was going through the Rolodex in his mind, trying to remember. And he says, listen, I used to be that homeless man. You gave me $5. I am now gainfully employed. I am. And he just went on and he told him what he'd become. So you see, my beautiful friends, you don't have to tell anybody what you wish for them. That is an internal thing. Because you know the golden rule, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. But in Barbados, we say, don't wish for nobody what you wouldn't want for yourself. Eh? Don't wish for nobody what you wouldn't want for yourself. Why? Why is that so important? Because the thing that you are holding on to, that the thing that you are wishing onto somebody else, has to pass through you first. So you are going to get it first. Because if you send something to somebody and they are unavailable after so many attempts, what happens to that package? Return to sender. So that thing that you sent for them, would you accept it for yourself? I mean, I just asking for a friend. So the next time we want to be spiteful, and believe me, not one of us is exempt from spite, because we are human and we feel a vast array of emotions. The key here is to catch yourself and tap into heaven and change it. Because prevention is better than cure. Catch it. And listen, even if you don't catch it, and you picking up the pieces at the end, remember the pieces and don't do it again, because why? It don't feel nice, huh? It don't feel good. So heaven will never abandon you, because it cannot. It cannot abandon you. Why not? Because heaven is the very substance that holds all creation together. That is why. That is why. That is why a man like William Blake can say, when you see the wings of a hummingbird, you see the face of God. Who's here with us this morning? Jovial Joel. Ow. Hello, Michael. Big Mike. Ow. Is in the house. Ray Ray is in the house. Ah, Solo Breezy. Solo Breezy, remember to say hello to your grandma for me, please, darling. K-Frame is kicking it with us in these YouTube streets. Melly Mel is kicking it with us too in these YouTube streets. Hey, girl. I wonder, where's my Liza? How about Mr. Stafford Jr., the better man? What about Trina? Trina Bina? Listen, thank you all for being here on such a glorious Tuesday. Really and truly. Remember, though, I can hear my Roo. He's purring. It is the sweetest noise ever. Yes, they do purr. Anywho, I appreciate each and every one of you for showing up. I really do. Because Lord knows it is early. And we'd rather be doing something else some days. So I thank you and I appreciate you. Remember to check out positivelyangela.com. Test it out for me so I know it's working. Also, you can get your cards from there. And I think the first 2 decks for people who've prepaid, because there's like 13 of you, are going out. So I'm doing them every week as time and pocketbook allows, because shipping. But anyway, I digress. So they're coming for you. Or should I say coming to you, your Hermetic Oracle cards, because they teach you the principles every day and how to apply them every day, so that what happens? You live from that place habitually. So, my beautiful friends, a little bit and lady, and go forth today and test it for yourself. We don't dabble in hearsay. That's how rumors get started. But we fully immerse ourselves in the experience, meaning a hypothesis is a theory you can test. Test it for yourself. Test it. What are you going to test? Where you can put your mind, how long you can hold it for, and how many reps you can do. Sounds like going to the gym. Could that be mental gymnastics? Yes. Why? Because the all is mind. The universe is mental. Indeed it is. And with that, my beautiful friends, Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Zarian? Did Zarian leave? Because I didn't say Zarian. But I just saw Zarian just gave me some love on Fanbase. Oh, thank you, Zarian. That is so cool. Thank you. So, as always, my DMs are always open. If you have questions, we will go through the law and explain things by way of law. And I trust that you see the law all around you. Yes? I do love and appreciate you. Much love to you all. Peace. Twitter is closed. YouTube and Facebook. It is time, darling. Much love to you all.